Good morning to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Today's editorial is about Maoist insurgency in India, especially in central India, and the focus is on Bastar region of Chhattisgarh. Any editorial that deals with insurgency, you have to guess a broad framework. What is a group that has resorted to insurgency? What are their what is their ideology? What are their goals, and how long have they been in the field, and what is the impact of that particular group, insurgency group, what government has been doing almost a few decades, what are the measures taken by the government, and how do they retaliate, finally what is the solution. This is a broad framework. Let us start with the question, what is this editorial about? This editorial is about the ongoing struggle, you can also say ongoing fight against Maoist insurgency. Insurgency means a group of people trying to take control or overthrow the government. I have the meaning, I'll show you later. In India, particularly focusing on the situation in central India, notably in the Bastar region of Chhattisgarh. What is the tone of the editorial? The tone of the editorial is analytical and critical. One particular aspect, the editorial criticizes the government, otherwise analytical. Very good. Focus, foresight. How does it start? War of attrition. There are a few important words. Today's editorial, it is about insurgency, goes more with Indian polity, and definitely some important words are there. You have to learn. New words are there. The very first one, attrition, I don't think we have got this word. Actually, this goes with jobs. If you go to the private sector, especially private sector, that too, IT sector. IT sector has this problem. What is the problem? The problem of attrition. Attrition means a reduction or decrease in number, size, or strength. But actually, as I said, it goes with the private sector, especially IT sector. When it comes to IT sector, they have this problem of attrition. Means what? A lot of employees keep changing the companies, and because they leave the company, they have to be replaced. They have to take new employees. If they don't do that, then we say attrition problem. Attrition, I also use one word, job hopping. Job hopping. Because of job hopping, we have the problem of attrition. What is this job hopping? Leaving one company, going to another company within no time because of a better pay. In this context, leaving the organization, we use the word attrition. Leaving a particular organization, then we say attrition. War of attrition. On the fight against Maoist insurgency, an important word. All these words are very important, one has to know. Insurgency, occasion when a group of people attempt to take control of their country by force. They try to topple, they try to overthrow the government, then we say insurgency. What is the main idea of this editorial? Despite military gains, immediately have to become alert. We don't use the preposition of, and also in spite of three separate words. Despite military gains, that means advantages or success, you can say. A solution to Maoist insurgency cannot be based on just violence. There are one word here, just. But the main idea, though we have got some gains in terms of military, using the military, the solution to this insurgency, Maoist insurgency, cannot be based. Here it is in passive voice. We cannot base something, something cannot be based. Cannot be based on just violence. The word just has two or three meanings. One meaning, it has a function. He has just come. Come, came, come. We use the word just in present perfect tense to convey the idea a recently completed action. He has just come. But here just means proper, fair, correct. FAIR. Fair treatment, correct treatment, just treatment. Ah, very good, Anisha. Exactly. Those are the words. Proper, fair, correct. Violence can be justified, but here the editorial says, or you can take this way: based on violence, we cannot get the solution. A solution to Maoist insurgency cannot be based on just violence. There should be some sort of dialogue. You can take this way or that way. For a long standing insurgency that peaked in the early to mid 2000s, the war against the Maoists has settled into some sort of pattern. This has been going on for quite some time. Long standing insurgency that peaked in, means it touched the peak in the early to mid 2000s. The war against the Maoists has settled, present perfect tense, active voice, into some sort of pattern. It has been going on, and based on that, the fight between the uh, government taking some action and Maoists retaliating, or the other way, some pattern has evolved. Recently, the insurgents, those who resort to insurgency, suffered a series of blows from paramilitary and police forces. Something has happened recently. What has happened? The insurgents suffered a series of blows from paramilitary and police forces, which include the killing of at least 29 Maoists in the Bastar region in Chhattisgarh on Tuesday. A recent incident. How many Maoists got killed? 29. Limited to the jungles. Where are these Maoists? The sentence talks about that. They spread. Limited to the jungles of central India, and in places of sparse tribal presence. Sparse means small in numbers or amount, one meaning. Another meaning, scattered, spread over a large area. Large area, then you have here and there a few people, sparse. Sparse tribal presence with a weaker presence of the developmental and welfare state relative to the rest of the country. It talks about where are these Maoists, limited to the jungles of central India and in places of sparse tribal presence, with those areas where the tribals are there, a weaker presence of the developmental and welfare state relative to the rest of the country. The Maoists have been significantly diminished as a political ideological force with few takers for the parties. The Communist Party of India Maoist ideology or visions of an alternative state. It talks a lengthy sentence, but what it says, these people have been reduced to a small number. They are scattered, one thing, and where the tribal people here and there scattered, and also jungles of central India. And these areas where we have sparse tribal presence, the welfare measures are not reaching. Well, weaker presence of the developmental and welfare state relative to the rest of the country, not to the same extent. And based on that, the Maoists have been significantly diminished, present perfect passive voice. As a political ideological force with few takers, this is an important expression, means no takers. You have to recollect few, a few, and the few. In this context, you should also recollect little, a little, the little, few or little, hardly anything, almost nothing. Negative connotation. A few, a little, at least some. The few, the little, whatever is there or something specific. With few takers means no takers. For the parties, what is a party? The Communist Party of India, Maoist, their party's ideology or visions of an alternative state. No one is now, it has not become it is no longer popular. That's what it means. What they have retained, however, though the ideology is not popular, they have retained something. What is that? What they have retained present perfect active voice. However, contrasting word, retain means to hold on or to keep. is an ability to target security forces, evident in the killing of 22 paramilitary personnel in April 2021 and 10 Jawans in April 2023. They have retained a particular tactic or a particular ability. What is that? They are able to attack the security forces. They are able to make an impact by killing some of them. To provide the statistical data, the killing of 22 paramilitary personnel in April 2021 and 10 Jawans in April 2023. This has necessitated security forces to use unconventional military tactics. Because we are losing these people, paramilitary personnel and Jawans, the government must have thought we should use a different strategy. This has necessitated, based on the situation, a new necessity. What is it? This has necessitated security forces to use unconventional military tactics. Conventional military tactics, conventional means traditional. Unconventional, not traditional, new, innovative, and new combing routes to target the armed Maoist cadres, new routes to search and eliminate them, and also to target armed Maoist cadres, means the workers. While these attacks weaken the military strength of the Maoists, what is the impact of that? These attacks weaken, it's a verb, a regular verb. Weakened. While these attacks weaken the military strength of the Maoists, they cannot cumulatively wipe out the threat of the insurgents. Wipe out, remove completely, eradicate, cumulatively, increasing or growing by accumulation of or successive additions. You keep on adding something at regular intervals, then we say cumulative effect. Wipe out the threat of the insurgents as claimed by the Union government. They cannot do it by taking this particular approach. This is why. This is because the Maoists are in difficult hilly terrain. The location where these Maoists are basically not accessible, inaccessible, not easy to access. Based on that, this is because the Maoists are in difficult hilly terrain. Terrain means a piece of land, geographical area, and have shown present perfect active voice the ability to win over some discontented sections of their tribals who are affected by the civil war. Here, it talks about it is not easy to wipe out completely by using these attacks. One of the reasons where do they live? Where do we come across the Maoists? Difficult hilly terrain. That means access is not easy. And one more dimension have shown the ability to win over, means get the confidence of some discontented sections of the tribals. Discontent means being unhappy, not being happy. Dissatisfaction with one's circumstances who are affected by the civil war. Those tribal people who got affected by the civil war, somehow they got attracted to the Maoists. That's what the sentence means. After 2 decades of fighting the Maoists, whose strength peaked after two prominent Naxalite parties merged, their strength peaked at a particular time. When did it peak? After two prominent Naxalite parties merged into the CPI Maoist. That time it peaked. The Indian state has long realized that the only way out is to take them on militarily while winning over tribals through welfare measures. Based on this 2 decades of fighting, whose strength, Maoist strength, touched the peaks after two prominent Naxalite parties merged into the CPI Maoist, the Indian state, the Indian government has long realized that the only way out, an important expression, only we should use before whatever it describes. Only solution is to take them on militarily while winning over tribals through welfare measures. It has to be two pronged. What are the two prongs? One dimension, it has to take the Maoists using military attack. Second, it has to win the confidence of the tribal people. Win over the tribal people. How can they get confidence? they have to go in for welfare measures. In the late 2000s, the use of PRO is an important word, I think we have got for the first time, a cunning plan or action designed to turn a situation to one's own advantage. The use of PROs such as arming tribals, one of the strategies used by the government, providing arms to the tribal people. The use of PROs such as arming tribals to take on the Maoists. The tribals have been given the arms so that they can take on the Maoists. Arming tribals to take on the Maoists through fraud campaigns such as Salva Judam backfired. Backfire and flaw, they're two words. Flaw we have got many a time. A blemish, a mark, or other imperfection which mars or spoils a substance or object. Flaw, you can also take it as a mistake. Generally, when we talk about English, someone speaks without mistakes, then we say he speaks flawless English, impeccable English. Two words you have to know. And here, backfire. I also tell students there are two more words or expressions you have to recollect. One is counterproductive. You do something expecting a positive result, but you get a negative result. Then we say it backfired, counterproductive. And one important word, boomerang. Backlash also you can say. Backlash, a different connotation. Boomerang, very good. I appreciate that. Fraud campaigns, wrong campaigns, faulty campaigns such as Salva Judam backfired. Whatever the government tried to do, it has backfired. Later, in a change of tack here, tactics or strategy, the reach of the welfare state and the bureaucracy gradually expanded into hitherto inaccessible areas in central India and helped negate Maoist propaganda about the Indian state being exploitative. That did not work. Based on it, the government has taken up a new approach. What is the new approach? Reaching out. Reach of the welfare state means making the tribal people understand the welfare measures being taken by the government. Reach of the welfare state and the bureaucracy gradually expanded into hitherto inaccessible areas. Hitherto, adverb, means until now, until the point in time under discussion. Till now, certain areas not accessible. But slowly, what the government has done, because the first approach did not work, second approach, reaching out to the tribal people, telling them about creating awareness about the welfare measures, along with the bureaucracy, they could enter hitherto until now inaccessible areas in central India, and this helped negate. As they also we got the word help. It does not take two. Negate means to cause something to have no effect, to make something null and void. Ah, very good, Anisha. Make null and void. Negate Maoist propaganda. Propaganda is nothing but campaign about the Indian state being exploitative. In this context, I would like to tell you guys whatever I say, not my personal opinion, based on what the editorial says. I am trying to analyze, interpret the stand taken by the editorial. Here it says the Maoist propaganda. What is their propaganda about the Indian state being exploitative? They're trying to nullify, also, you can say, Adi Lakshmi, good. They're trying to create an opinion or an image of the Indian state among the tribal people that Indian state is exploitative in nature. It is not helping the tribal people. But on the other hand, the government has come up with a lot of welfare measures. Only thing they're not, in the past, they could not reach the tribal people. Now, slowly, they're trying to reach the tribal people, and that will definitely make a positive impact. Several tribal people tired of warfare and violence. Imagine a particular region always experiences attacks, killings, and warfare. The people of that particular area will get fed up. The sentence talks about that. Several tribal people tired of, fed up of the warfare and violence refused to support the Maoists. They must have reached a point where loss of life and got frustrated. They stopped supporting the Maoists, leading to desertion in their ranks in other states as well. Because they did not get the local support, the support from the tribal people, it led to desertion, an important word. Another word you have to recollect in this context, One is a desert, can be a noun, can be a verb. As a verb, to leave someone, to abandon. And another word you have to recollect, a dessert, noun, something that goes with eating. After the main course, you have a dessert. Pronunciation also changes. Desertion means abandon. Ranks means top people of the Maoist organization. Desertion in the ranks in other states as well. No local support, no organization can survive. In Chhattisgarh, however, the constant warfare has helped the Maoists tap into some discontent. In Chhattisgarh, a different situation. Other states different, Chhattisgarh different. In Chhattisgarh, however, contrasting information. The constant warfare has helped, present perfect, the Maoists tap into some discontent. Tap into means a hardness, take out, exploit, some discontent, dissatisfaction among tribal people. Civil society and peace activists have tried to initiate ceasefire talks. Civil society and peace activists, NGOs, have tried, present perfect, to initiate ceasefire talks. Ceasefire we have got in the recent past many a time, an agreement between two armies to stop fighting and have a dialogue between the Maoists and the security forces. Besides, in addition to, you have to recollect here, beside, next to, besides, in addition to, asking the insurgents to use democratic means to take up tribal causes. What is the goal of Maoists or the insurgent groups? They want justice for tribal people. They're fighting for the tribal people because they feel the state is exploitative in nature. What the editorial says, instead of resorting to violence, Maoists or insurgent people or insurgent groups should resort to dialogue, democratic means, to take up tribal causes, to fight for tribal people, to fight on behalf of the tribal people. They have to take up a dialogue, they have to take up democratic means. They should not resort to violence. This is a stand taken by the editorial. But the Maoists, despite setbacks means failures, something that causes delay or stops progress. You can also take the word failure. But the Maoists, despite setbacks, have refused to give up. Give up is an important phrasal verb. Give up means what? Stop doing something, stop trying for something. I usually tell students while preparing for competitive exam, you should never give up. And I give a quote: winners never quit, quitters never win. Give up means to quit, never do that. To not refuse to give up on the anachronistic ideology. This also we have got for the first time. Chrono, there's one particular root word, chrono. Chrono means related to time. Based on this, we have words like chronology, study of time, and chronicles, make a note of events based on the time factor. And here, chronis and anachronistic ideology. It means something that is out of place, out of time, no longer relevant. Anachronistic means existing out of its time in history. In a simple way, chronometer, the gadget to measure time. And anachronistic, an important word, means you have an ideology. At a particular time, it was relevant. Now it is not relevant. Then we use the word anachronistic ideology, no longer relevant. Their unwillingness to accept that the poor tribals whom they claim to represent, the Maoists claim they represent the poor tribals, but their unwillingness to accept that the poor tribals whom they claim to represent only want better engagement and outcomes from the welfare and electoral system. Tribal people want better outcome, better engagement and outcomes from the welfare and electoral system, not a violent overthrow that jeopardizes their lives. What do the tribal people want? Maoists are fighting on behalf of the tribal people. Here we have the Maoists. They are fighting against the government on behalf of the tribal people. But tribal people, what do they want? They have a choice right now. What is the choice? One is taking the help of Maoists and resorting to using something based on violence. The other one using the democratic measures. The sentence says the tribal people prefer the second one, not the former, the latter, because if they resort or if they choose the first one, it that may jeopardize their lives. Jeopardize an important word. What does it mean? Put someone or something in danger. Has ensured that the war of attrition continues. Sentence says their unwillingness to accept that the poor tribals, they are not willing to accept the ground reality. What is that? What exactly do the tribal people want? Whom they claim to represent? What do they want? The tribal people only want better engagement and outcomes from the welfare and electoral system, and not a violent overthrow of the government that jeopardizes their lives. And this unwillingness of the Maoists has ensured that the war of attrition continues. The war continues because the Maoists are not willing to accept the fact that the tribal people do not want the violent path, they want the democratic path. They're not willing to accept that fact. Based on that, the war of attrition continues. That's all about this editorial. Join at 7:30 to deal with mini mocks. Do remember to subscribe and share. Thank you very much.